We've talked about the development of TwHistory.org. It's right now it's basically just a kind of a a listing page for the reenactments that we've done so far, with links to the Twitter pages that have those tweets in them. But eventually, TwHistory.org will be this interactive website that allows you to actually create it right there and to reuse and even translate into other languages. We're finding that we have a lot of interest from overseas, and so having an auto-generated translation as kind of a quick first draft actually ends up being pretty helpful, and then people go in and they modify it so that it actually makes sense in their language, but they have something to start with. So we'll have multilingual capabilities as well, and this is all happening pretty quickly. It's being developed right now, and I really want to show you some of this, but we have to wait for a little bit just because it's going to be awesome. Even just the artwork on it is fantastic, so we're excited. But anyway, so if I can make one little pitch right now, that would be to get out and vote for that Pepsi Refresh Challenge. We'll put the link up so that you can see where to go. But basically, we're really excited about the future possibilities. You want to add anything to that, Rob? I could pull it up if you.
Yeah, I've got one thing I was going to pull up.
You should do the Big Ten one, so if anybody else isn't voting,
yeah,
they can put all their votes towards.
Absolutely. Actually, I'll just explain this real quick. Part of how we're at number 7 is that we formed a 10-way alliance with 9 other projects. Actually, more like 20 other projects, but we've created this website where you can vote for all 10 at the same time, because you do have 10 votes per day on this Pepsi challenge. You can vote with Facebook, so you don't even have to sign up for another account if you don't want to. You just use your Facebook account, and you can vote every day. So basically, we're just kind of rah, getting it out there. If you're listening to this remotely or whatever, I mean, the whole month of October, we're just really trying to push this, because if we're number 10 or better, we get $25,000 to spend on creating reenactments for classrooms and everything that goes with that. So it's exciting. We'll also be reporting, just so you have an idea of the time frame on the website, we're going to be sharing kind of an early release version of it in Barcelona in about, 3 weeks. It's really coming up fast. But anyway, we'll have some things to show in 3 weeks, and then the rest of it will be rolled out shortly after. We're really hoping to have it fully up and running at the tail end of this calendar year or beginning of 2011. So it's neat because it will add a lot of new functionality to allow people to reuse these reenactments. They're a lot of work. They really are. And so just to do it once, it seems kind of like, it's not, you want to be able to reuse them. And so you'll be able to do that.
So the Big Ten Alliance website wasn't coming up, but Big Ten Alliance, like the number 10.org is the site. But this is the one on the Refresh Everything, the Pepsi website. And so you can see it there. Basically, just be logged into your Facebook account and click on vote for this idea, and it'll step you through a little thing to authenticate yourself against Facebook.
Number 7.
Yeah, number 7, and so we've got till the end of the month to remain in that top 10, and that money comes in, which will be awesome. You can also text in, and so you can vote several different ways. So it's good to do that. I actually just posted, this is a post I meant to do a while ago, and it got me thinking about it this morning, and so I went ahead and put it up on my blog. I don't know if you can read it okay. I'll read these to you. I put together a top 10 list, top 10 things I learned from TwHistory. And like I mentioned in here, I think there's a lot more I've learned, but these are just a few of them, and I'll read them real quick. There was actually a girl who really would stand at the bow of the Titanic after her nightly escapades. Fort Bridger was just a couple of small log cabins. no one really won the Battle of Gettysburg. That's actually a pretty deep thing if you think about it a lot, but it was a tough time. And a lot of the battles, well, the whole war, I don't think anybody won. But anyway, never leave the percussion cap on the hammer of your rifle. Okay, there's some people who almost died because they misstored their weaponry. If you don't burn towns as you march through them, the ladies treat you nicely. Don't tie up the prophet's horse within rope's distance of a sinkhole. It's a big deal when a horse dies out on the plains. Only 3 of the 4 smokestacks on the Titanic were real. The last one was just decoration. The best time to raid the enemy's camp is just when they're sitting down to dinner. That one you'll understand because I explained to you the story. And then the last one, history can be fun and interesting. And that was probably the most important one for me. I had no idea. I've been missing out all these years caring nothing about history. And so I've missed out on a lot, but it's been fun so far.
And yes, that is Lincoln with an iPhone. That's part of the fun artwork that's coming up.
Any questions?
Validity. How, like, if you're going to turn it into something that's given to secondary education, who is going to make sure that it's valid and who's creating it? Like, are you turning it over to students to create it, and then how do you make sure that it stays valid, or are you separating it like things done archived by professional organizations versus Mrs. Green's class, or how do you organize it?
I can answer that. Yeah. That's I'm getting a lot of good questions from you. So basically, there's a couple answers to that. The first is that yes, anyone will be able to create reenactments. We will have a rating system as part of it, and that's more of just a crowdsourced. I really like this reenactment. You know, this one was well done. Authors will be designated, and you can see what organization is behind what reenactment. In terms of validity, and I would even say quality, you know, you could ask the same question about the textbooks that are written right now. I think there's a pretty big movement in the history teaching and learning area that's teaching with primary sources and also thinking like a historian. A lot of the research in that area suggests that the more we can get students to start thinking about the decisions that need to be made around what you include and what you exclude, and how you represent things, what amount of data do you need, what amount of sources do you have to kind of triangulate before you can make a claim. That's the kind of history that we should be learning. That's the kind of history that students in high school should be learning. Memorizing facts just doesn't cut it. I think the historical thinking that goes into creating one of these reenactments is huge. And it's true that, for example, in the Cuban Missile Crisis reenactment, there was a point at which Khrushchev told JFK basically "booyah," and I think that was a direct quote. I think that students will go out of character. Students will also interpret things on their level in the context that they kind of understand. And that's all part of the learning process. So to be able to say that that's on the same level as Houghton Mifflin is probably not fair. But at the same time, you're getting them to create it, and it's a much more memorable experience. And the teacher can do some kind of quality checking. In this case, you know, that one slipped through, but there was, I'm sure, some discussion on the other end of how, you know, what would be a more appropriate response, and maybe a discussion of what